If you keep starting and stopping, if you promise yourself to be disciplined, then break that promise again. If you spend your evenings feeling guilty for not doing enough, you've probably been told one thing over and over. You're lazy. You just lack willpower. You need more motivation. But here's the truth you rarely hear. If you were really lazy, you wouldn't care. The fact that it bothers you, that you notice it, that it keeps you awake at night, means something important. The problem isn't you. The problem is the system you're living inside. Most of us are trained to find a simple answer whenever we fail. I'm lazy. I just don't have enough willpower. If only I were more motivated, I could do it. So you try harder. You push yourself. You promise yourself, tomorrow I'll finally get it right. And yet, nothing changes. You feel stuck. You feel frustrated. You start questioning yourself. Am I not disciplined enough? Am I broken? Here's the thing. That feeling isn't proof of failure. It's proof that something in your approach isn't working. Think about it. If laziness were really the issue, you wouldn't be worrying about it at all. You wouldn't notice the gap between what you want to do and what actually happens. The problem isn't you. It's the way your environment, your habits, and your routines are structured, or rather the way they're not structured. Right now, you might be blaming yourself for inconsistency, but what you're really experiencing is the friction of a system that silently works against you. And that friction is exactly what keeps you feeling stuck, exhausted, and guilty, even though you genuinely care about making progress. So what exactly do I mean by system? A system isn't a planner. It isn't a list of habits. It isn't even motivation. A system is the invisible architecture of your life. It's the way your day begins. It's what you do when you feel tired or distracted. It's the default choices your brain makes when you stop thinking. It's the small structures that decide, moment by moment, whether you move forward or drift backward. Most people don't realize it, but your system is constantly shaping your behavior. Every decision you make, every action you repeat, is filtered through it. And here's the tricky part. Most systems are not built to help you grow. They're built around comfort, ease, and instant gratification. That's why you wake up intending to work on what matters, and somehow spend hours on things that feel urgent but aren't important. That's why you promise yourself you'll be consistent, and still end the day feeling like you've failed. Your system doesn't judge you. It doesn't care about your goals. It simply responds to the path of least resistance, and until you understand the system you're living inside, you'll keep spinning your wheels, no matter how motivated or disciplined you try to be. Here's the part most people don't realize. Willpower is a limited resource. It's not designed to carry your life forward every single day. It's not a superpower you can switch on whenever you feel like it. Every time you rely on willpower to get through a task, you're borrowing energy from the next decision, the next challenge, the next day. That's why, after a few hours of focus, you feel drained. Why a small distraction can derail your entire afternoon. Why motivation, no matter how strong in the moment, fades fast. The brain is wired to conserve energy. It wants comfort, ease, and instant reward. When progress feels invisible, it resists. When the payoff is distant, it hesitates. So it's not that you're weak, it's that the system around you, the choices, the environment, the habits, doesn't support sustained effort. You're fighting against an invisible current, and no amount of grit or self-criticism can change the tide. That's why so many of us feel like we're constantly failing, even though we're trying hard every day.
Here's the trap most ambitious people fall into without realizing it. They believe that understanding themselves more will automatically make them more disciplined. So they analyze, they reflect, they plan. They try to identify every weakness and fix it. But here's the problem. Self-awareness alone doesn't create progress. Instead, it often leads to self-blame. You notice every time you fall short, every missed opportunity, every day that doesn't go according to plan. And blame. Blame keeps you stuck. It creates cycles. A strong start in the morning, a burst of effort, then fatigue, then guilt, then starting over tomorrow, hoping it will finally stick. The harder you push, the more the system pushes back. And before long, you're exhausted, not because you lack discipline, but because you're trapped in the wrong loop. Here's the difference. Disciplined people don't rely on willpower to push themselves every day. They don't negotiate with their minds each morning. They don't wait for motivation to show up. Instead, they remove the fight entirely. They design their environment so the right actions are easier than the wrong ones. They reduce decisions that drain energy. They create clear defaults that guide them automatically. And they make progress boring. It doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels invisible. Because it happens without constant struggle. That's why it seems effortless from the outside. It's not that they're stronger or luckier. It's that their systems do the work for them. And that's the key. Discipline isn't about pushing harder. It's about creating a life where pushing harder isn't necessary. Now, here's the shift that changes everything. True discipline isn't about pushing yourself harder. It's about removing the resistance. It's about living in a system that naturally guides you toward the right actions. So the real question isn't, how do I become more disciplined? The real question is, what kind of system am I living inside? Think about it. Does your environment, your habits, your routines make progress easy or hard? Do they support the life you want? Or do they quietly pull you backward when you're tired? Until you answer that question, nothing you try will stick for long. You'll keep cycling through motivation, willpower, guilt, and frustration. But the moment you see your system clearly, you stop fighting yourself. And suddenly, small changes start to compound. Quietly, consistently, predictably. So here's the bottom line. Stop calling yourself lazy. Stop blaming yourself for inconsistency. You were never broken. You were just operating inside a system that didn't support you. And when you start designing your life around systems that work, discipline stops being a struggle. Progress becomes quiet, consistent, and unstoppable. This channel isn't about hype or motivation. It's about building structures, habits, and routines that carry you forward, even on days when motivation is gone or willpower feels empty. Every video here is one small step forward. Every day is a chance to grow. If this perspective helped you see yourself differently, stay here, subscribe, watch, and let's build something meaningful, one step at a time.